This is Eugene Gahm, and I'm here with Amelia Saloon, and I am Jared Phillips at Games Auto Parts, and we're here to discuss his history of Lucasville. What was it like growing up in Lucasville?
Well, just like any normal bunch, but when I was growing up, the war and stuff was going on, and things was pretty tight, and people was poor. We was all poor, Dad always said we didn't have no money, but we had a grocery store, we always eat. And just a lot of good people. Just a very good community.
What's your favorite memory from your community, from whenever you were growing up?
Everything we done was a good memory. We was just, I had two brothers, Roger and John, and we were just ornery three boys.
Who were your mom, dad, and siblings?
My dad was Virgil Gahm, and my mother was Dorothy Gahm, and my kids is Brian and Darren. Was raised, in the grocery store, and mom and dad, they all worked, in the store, and basically that's where we was raised, in the store. Had a good life.
How long have you lived in Lucasville?
Well, I was born in South Vienna in '38. My dad had a store up there. He had a uncle that had a farm up there, and a little town called South Vienna didn't have a grocery store in it. So Uncle Joe told Dad if he would come up here and start a store, he'd sign for $5,000 for him to get started. Okay, and so Dad and Mom, they move up there, start the store. There's a picture of it right there. And that was his first store. Well, they got there and they didn't like it. They said all they looked forward to was Saturday night when they could come home. And so Dad had a chance to sell out to Earl Shoemaker, which was a cousin up there, and he sold it and came back down here. Well, he opened in '40, so he started probably in '39 or so, and built the store. And they started what they called, it was called cash and carry, Games Cash and Carry, because Dad did no credit. See, back then, about all your stores had a little pad. You go in, get your groceries, and once a month, push a button. Excuse me. You have to take it out. So I gotta eat first. Anyway, Dad had a cash and carry store, and when he started, there was a Kroger store. E. Flagler, he was across the street from us, and then, of course, everything we sold, when they bought it, they paid for it. And it went good. It always just kept getting bigger every year. So that's about the history of that.
Did you graduate from Valley?
Oh yeah.
What was that like?
Well, we had a ball. It was good. Had a lot of good teachers.
When did you graduate?
38. No. 50. 56, I think. 57. 56.
What was school like back then?
Well, just normal, I guess. Nothing fancy. You learned your ABCs and learn how to count money. They can't count money today.
Did you have a job while you were in school?
Yes, sir. My dad told me whenever I was a young man in school, I don't know, I was about 14 years old, of course. We worked at a store, all of us did. He said, now you can go down the corner and loaf them guys. He said, if you'll work and help me, when you get 16, I'll give you the car I'm driving. So that's a lot better than loafing on the corner, Plus he paid us every week. So I got a 1954 Ford when I turned 16. And it was really sharp when it had Continental and all the stuff I'd put on it while getting 16, And then course, Roger got a new 57 Ford, and Johnny got a new 64 Ford. And we all got a new car. And Dad's ambition was for us to have something good to drive and a home. And he helped all three of us get our first house. And I had wonderful parents.
Did you have a special interest that led to you establish your own like business here, like your own car and truck business?
Yeah, I had. We all worked at the store, and then Dad said whoever stayed at the store, when Mom and Dad passed away, they'd give them the store and the contents. And so Roger left. My grandfather was an electrician at the mill. They had one. In later years, well, he retired, so they give Roger was electrician too. They give him a grandpa's job. And he run that, or done that for a while, and then later on he went to A plant. But I raced cars. I'm a drag racer. And I built wrecked cars to support my habit, you know. I'd build them and sell them, along with the grocery store. And I ran across two guys in Huntington, West Virginia, Darrell Steinbecker and Johnny Jones. And they liked me. And I was their largest customer for 40 years. It's been longer than that since then, but we're still a customer of theirs. But anyway, I was buying wrecks and rebuilding them. I bought a few off them, so they got the bright idea that Darrell had a record store for the state of West Virginia. So he said, let me buy a couple records, put them down here. You just manage them. And so I got to thinking about it. I thought, well, if that's the case, he's got enough faith in me that he would just bring two over here, me run them. Why don't I just buy one? So I got in the record business. And then, of course, that led to salvage business. They had good friends over there and adjusters. And we got to work, and first thing you know, I'm in the salvage business. And one day, Dad come, I went to work early one morning. Dad said, "Man, you got to talk." He said, it's time for you to move on. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I had a place across the street from the store." And he said, "You need to go over there." He said, "You make more money in a week than I make in a month." I would say that is probably the hardest thing in my life that ever happened to me, because I love my dad and he was good to us. And many times I'd stand and cry when I first went over there. I'm serious. That's how bad it was. And anyway, as things went on, I went on to do good. Things worked out good. Then I come up here and bought this farm off of Albert and Jackie Malone. This place used to be a dairy, and the big barn over there, that's where they bottled the milk, and they had Jersey cattle, and they were in this end. They done all the milking down here. Of course, they had a hay mile, normal stuff you have at the farm. And then from there we went. Well, from there we built 14 buildings. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
How long did that take?
Ever since I've been up here. Yeah, we've been. We just finished a big one out back.
Do you still love to work with cars?
Do I still what?
Love to work with cars?
Oh yeah, I don't have. I used to like to shine them and mechanically, but when you get 80 years old, some of that leaves you. I've still got cars. I got some old cars. I don't have time. We get up here, come over here at 6 in the morning, here till 5:30, and when you get 80, you don't have much steam left. I may go bush hog some, in the evening, some of the farmland. That's about it. I run roll back every now and then. I don't run the records.
Do you have any other hobbies?
Work.
Just work?
Done it all my life.
When did you, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. That's all right.
When did you start your first business?
Oh, goodness, I don't know. I was at the store for 3 or 4 years doing it because I used to run a wrecker with an apron on. I went to school to be a meat cutter. I cut meat at the store, and at one time we had me and 7 other people worked for the meat department. When the A plant was in here, you know, when it first come to town, in 1950, you know, that's when you were just busy. I've really been busy all my life. I've always had more than I could do. So, like I said, talk to you about it all day long. You don't want to hear all of it. And,
So, what are some of the memories you have with Games car and truck parts in Games Napa?
well, I was in just in the salvage business, and one year we had a snow, about 4 feet of snow, and it wrecked the building. The ceiling fell out of it and everything, and then so the insurance company couldn't fix it with me in it, and with all the computers and all that stuff. So we elected to build a new building. So we built this building here. So that's a story on that.
What are some of the most difficult parts in running your business?
Oh, I don't know. The fact that you can be here, we're doing, say, practically nothing, and they'll go from 0 to 100 mile an hour like that. We do have a good business. We do a lot of different things. We got wreckers, cranes, roll-off trucks. We're heavy haul. We haul big equipment. We've got a lighter truck that hauls other stuff. But, between the wreckers and the cranes and that stuff, and Darren and Brian work, you know, 24/7, whatever it takes. And, we do a lot of semi-wrecks and stuff. It's mostly manual labor.
What are some of the most rewarding parts of your job?
Well, I'm just proud of what we got, what we do, and we take pride in what we do. Our equipment and stuff shows it, and I'm a stickler for keeping it clean. Yeah, I like for things to be nice.
So the Games family business has been serving Ohio for close to around 40 years. And
Oh, in 1940.
oh, 80 years. I misread that. You are a huge supporter of the youth and 4-H programs. Can you tell us about your commitment to the youth of the area?
Well, most of my work with them is through the fair. You know, Dr. Walter Klein and Bill Burns got me in on the fair around 50 some years ago, and that's my thing. A fair, as I would say, that's my hobby, and it's just good to see the kids work their projects. They learn, and they, like you sell the cattle and stuff, they sell their projects, and they are learning all at the same time. And girls, they can learn the home ec stuff, and anything dressmaking on, you know. And if they apply themselves, it'll help them in later in life. You know, it's just anything that helps and teaches, hands-on, I'd say, is probably the best thing a kid can do. Because things you do, you don't forget. Now, if you just go out and halfway do it, you ain't gonna do no good. If you apply yourself in 4-H, that'll help you from now on. I'm just serious. Dead serious.
Yeah, it helped me. I was able to start my own business. I raise bees and I sell honey.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, but I mean, in order to do anything and be successful, you got to learn. And there's nothing like you can go to school all you want to, but that don't teach you common sense. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's basically what you're having is common sense. But I just, don't get me wrong, education is good. And I think everybody should go to college if they can. But personally, I like the fun of school, but there's parts of it I didn't care about. But when I was in the 8th grade, my teacher told me that I'd never amount up. And I always wanted to go get her and bring her out here.
What did that make you do? Did that stiffen your will to do things?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that just helped me out.
Yeah.
No, I had wonderful parents. My dad taught me. I use him every day, some way. Just like you. You don't know, but I remember your dad
Yeah.
better than I do you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he took care of us with, what was the name of the company?
Cigarette company.
I know the cigarette company, but
R.J. Reynolds.
R.J. Reynolds. He was our R.J. Reynolds man for years. Very nice gentleman. Done a good job. He's a worker, wasn't he?
Thank you. Yes. I'm proud of my dad.
He just had misfortune with a train. Yeah, got hit with a train.
But he lived through it.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Oh yeah.
He lived
oh
through
yeah.
that right.
I got his car there on the record.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, he had some bad scars, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. I think that tells right.
Did the upbringing? This one here. Did the upbringing? Did you upbringing influence your work?
Oh yeah, yeah. My dad taught me business. When I was 13 years old, he sent me and a truck driver to Pageland, South Carolina. I bought my first load of watermelons, cantaloupes. Dad trucked, you know, he hauled produce for the store and stuff. And when I was 13, we went to Pageland, South Carolina. Now Brian races down through there. I always ask somebody if they're from Pageland, you know, it's just good memories.
Did Dick Wolf ever bring produce to your store?
No. Well, now the Dick Wolf I know about is one that had the meat packing and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, no, they never did. Dad dealt mostly with sisters. Harold's sister and Dad were real good friends, and we really got good product from them. And Dad wouldn't put out anything. He wouldn't feed us kids. I mean, he's just that way.
You're known for your incredible work inside the county in the County Fair Board and your history to the service of the fair. We know it is the best fair in Ohio. Is this the 123rd fair?
I think it is.
What can we expect for the fair this year?
Just to be the normal stuff, all of our 4-H stuff, and we have a little entertainment thing there to use local town on, and we also have national acts in front of the grandstand. We have a circus, and the normal have, you know, some things you got to have, like Thursday is Kids Day, and you got to have a circus, and you got to have an elephant. I've been a stickler on them elephants, but they're harder to get and they're more expensive. But every kid loves an elephant. And we have rides; they can ride them, but the hospital sponsors that. They've been real loyal.
Is the demolition derby still real popular?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, last year we had two, but it just a little bit too much. It makes such a mess, and you know it's hard to stop in the middle of the fair and clean up. You know what I'm saying? You got so much to do. But no, we generally have it on Saturday night, and then that way the ring and stuff still looks good because people sit down there, you know, and you got to keep it looking good.
How was when did you first get involved with the fair?
I don't know, 50 some years ago. I can't tell you exactly. We tried to look it up, and a couple, 3, 4 years ago. It's 50 some years. Can't tell you that exactly.
What made you want to start getting involved with the fair?
Well, back in years, Lucasville had a swimming pool, and the people in the community bought bonds for it, and it went along good. And then it got to a place where it was going to, they wasn't doing any good. So some of them come to me and asked me if I could help out some way. And I don't know whether I suggested or somebody suggested putting on a demolition derby. So I did that, and it was a great success. Made a good bit of money for the pool. And then right after that, why, that's when Bill Burns and Dr. Klein latched on to me.
Could you tell us just a little bit about those two guys? Who were those two guys?
Dr. Walter Klein, he owned, it's got a different name now, out there from the school, it's Klein Farm.
Bentley Farms now?
Where Bentley is now. That was in the Klein family, as long as I can remember. And Bill Burns was the secretary. And Bill was a big guy, and he had a rough voice. He's really a stickler. But they come to me, and I started putting the derbies on, and one thing led to another, and then I wound up on the high fair managers in Columbus for quite a few years. And Brian was drag racing. He wanted to run for a world championship, so I resigned up there, and we put our time towards Brian and his racing, and he won 2 world championships. So, it's a good move. But we still, Darren just received the Midway Manager of the Year from the state, from the High Fair Managers. It's plaque on the wall. He just got that for the state of Ohio. So we've all been associated with it, me and my sons. They've helped out ever since they were little kids.
Can you tell us about your family, like your wife, children, and their work?
Have to say it again.
Can you tell us about your family, like your wife and children, and what they do for work?
When they work here. This is a family organization. My wife's worked every day with me, just like as I have. And Brian came along. He's worked ever since he was a little boy. Darren the same way. We're still working today. Yeah. They work a lot of hours.
And your grandkids do too? Do they work
Yeah,
down here?
they're here. Bree's here. Jared, they work. And then great grandkids, Eli, he works here. Of course, he goes to school in Memphis. I won't hold that against him, but no. Games originally from, when they come to town, they landed in Beaver in 18-something, up next to out 32. There's an arena out there that has events and stuff. All that land in there, when they come over here from Germany, they landed out there. And that at one time was all games. And there's still one of the original homes, original barn of Clarence Games still out there. But of course, the property's changed hands. That's where the Game family come to town. My dad was born. There's greenhouses out there, Davis Farms. Well, Miss Davis was a Game. If you come out her driveway, there used to be the Stones is there where Dad was born. There's big old stones. The house was built on. Yeah, and I don't think they're now. They were 20 years ago. Dad showed to me. But a lot of the roads over there is named. They changed the Game name to Graham, and just different names. It's got the G on it, but they done it. They said because it's easier for people to recognize. Because game, you try to tell somebody it's the same as ball game, saying it, you know, and it's very interesting. One of the games married one of them daughters of Clarence's married a Landon boy, and he done the family tree on all that in there. That's where I learned that. Yeah. And Dad and then they went from there to Grandpa worked the railroad, and he had a place in this on Dad's side. They had a place in down next to New Boston, and he traded that for a farm out here where the new road went through, where all them trailers set. That's where the game farm was, right there, across the street from him. That's where Dad was raised. And there's games all around through here, you know. They're all descendants from John Game.
Your son Brian Game, drag racing. He was honored on the Portsmouth Floodwall Memorials.
Yeah.
Were you happy about that?
Oh yeah, I think it's nice that they honor local kids and people that does great things. Yep, very proud of him.
Could you tell us a little bit about that engagement for, you said the Nationals and drag racing?
Yeah, he's raced, you know, everywhere. He run with the IHRA for years, and but they've since, in the last few years, they're still around, but they don't run the caliber stuff they used to run. What happened, the guy bought the association, and I'm trying to think what his name is. Anyway, he just wanted part of it, so he took part of it, and then of course the rest of it just slowly dwindled out because it takes a lot of money to do it.
How fast do those cars run?
I think Brian, whenever he ran like 222 mile an hour in a quarter panel. He'd be good for you to interview. I mean, he's been all over country racing. He's done real well. He's very respected. I mean, there ain't a week goes by that the guys is out there racing right now. He went out once this year, and he had a little bit of bad luck. He broke a wheelie bar and went through one of his tires. But he's going to go out again probably the next 3 weeks. It's a big job. We don't have quite as much help as we used to have. We have as much help, but we don't have the knowledgeable help as far as cleaning that stuff and waxing and stuff like that. We'll get it. He's wanting to race some more. It's the people that helped him has gotten older, and some of them won't go, and some of them can't go. But you know, we used to have a van we hauled a crew, but he's racing different things. But what he's done the best has been the pro stock division. Now NHRA has it. They were just racing this past weekend, and they called him right before the Nationals in the fall in Indy, and it was 2 weeks he had. But he hadn't been out. He hadn't had time to test. Them things you have to run them, and he didn't go. But he's one of the first invited. I was real proud of that. But he's going to go out some more. He can't get it out of his blood.
What's his favorite car to race?
Ford Mustang.
Boy, contribute a little bit more towards my coat.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, tradition, that's good.
There's, I think right there's a couple of these cars right there. They're in the window in the pictures. You can't see them very well. But we've been wrote up in Hot Rod Mag. There's an article in a Hot Rod magazine. There's, gosh, over in his shop, he's got all kinds of stuff. Paraphernalia where he's won. And
So, is it like a tradition to race a Ford Mustang?
no, he used to. When he first started out, he he's run Corvettes and different stuff. But we have a friend in Widener, Georgia, called John Kazi. He's probably one of the best engine builders in the world. And John, he likes Brian. And Brian's crew chief works for John. So they take very good care of Brian as far as motors goes. Yep.
So, the new rabbit and poultry barns. How did they come about?
Well, we got a grant on it, and then of course we had to put some money in it, and the commissioners helped us on it, and that's basically how it came about. But with the last two fairs, we've had so much rain that hurts us. That's how we make money, you know. People don't come out, you don't make no money. So, but all your fairs in the state of Ohio slowed down. There's too many things going on. They've moved the schools into the fair time, like ball games and all this stuff. You know, you take a kid plays travel ball, they don't want them over at the fair. I mean, that's just that simple. I mean, that's really hurt the fairs. But see, when I was growing up, Lucasville closed on Thursdays. Memphis closed on Wednesdays. And when the fair came, practically about noon, the stores pretty well shut down. Everybody come to the fair. And, you know, you meet a lot of people at the fair that you haven't seen in years. It's a good, fun place to be. I mean, it's just, I think it's the best thing going.
You know, if you were from Lucasville, back in the day, you went to the fair every day.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing.
What kind of changes have you seen throughout the years at the fair? Did I want
Oh, you ain't got too much tape.
Well, maybe just a change.
Well, it's just changed. You know, when I first started on the first job I had, the initiation part, I hooked the sled to the team of horses, and we pulled horses down from the grandstand. And of course, at the end of the day, you was covered up with dirt, you know, and then they pulled some regular farm tractors, not the big motor jobs they have today. And oh goodness, there's just all kinds of things, and all of them was positive and good. And it's just got better as time went on.
I mean, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, we spend a lot of money over the fair board. It takes a lot to keep it up. Right now, we're having trouble just cutting grass. Goodness gracious. Well, there was a boy cut last night till the storm came, just trying to keep up. It just raining so much. And you let it get out of hand, then it's really rough. The raking sucks.
Have you met any memorable performers that performed at the fair?
Oh yeah.
Who's your favorite?
They're all good. I've had so many, I can't even name them. I mean, we started out with a guy named Billy Walker. I believe I paid him, or the fair board paid him $1,500. Well, years ago, Doc and Bill Burns, they'd had Minnie Pearl here. She didn't draw. So we just had a little grandstand then, and so I got with Zeke Mullins. Remember Zeke?
Oh, yeah.
I told him what I was wanting to do, and I told him I had a sponsor, and I wanted to know if he'd work with me. Oh yeah. He said, "You get him here, I'll get the people." And he wasn't lying. We packed this place. And anyway, I initiated golf carts on the fairgrounds. So I got Bill in there, and I took him down to the far end of that old grandstand. And I said, "Now look around to your right and tell me country music won't work here." Man, he was a beaming. He liked it, you know. And the rest of it's history.
Yeah.
We've had back in the urban cowboy thing. Oh my God. Wouldn't that have 14, 15,000 people? You can't do it today. Come out, in an evening. They parked in my front yard. They parked in my backyard. They parked anywhere we could get them off the street. I mean, you probably remember something.
I do.
But we had at one time probably a good of country music stuff. That was the thing in the day. Today they got music. Eddie Arnold said it best. He said, "I'm sure there's some good music out there if I could just understand it." They turn the volume up so loud you can't hear the sound. But that's what the kids like. So we've just had just about who's who at the Grand Ole Opry's come by South County. But when I first started booking, $1,500. Now we've got one act this year. It's 30-some thousand, and the other one I can't tell you, but it's up in there too. We'll spend just for entertainment over $100,000, and then we're going to have bands one night, and then we're going to have a local boy one night. He's like $3,500. But we found over the years to really draw, you got to have somebody that's got a hit record. You might know Eugene Gahm, but he's never done nothing, so he's that's what it's all about. I mean, you got to have somebody that people recognize. But we miss Zeke because, the old original PAY traveled out so far.
Can't beat Zeke.
No, he was it.
He's an icon here.
Oh yeah. He helped me for years.
Very generous man too.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had. We used to have the Leroy Van Dyke he had a song, The Auctioneer. He sold the Grand Champion Hog at the South County Fair. I asked him. I said he was there on auction day, and I asked him if he'd start the sale. He did. Mm. He said, "Well, sure, I do it." But a lot of them today won't do nothing. They're different.
Got any funny fair or work memories that you can tell?
Oh, it's all been fun. I mean, you get upset about things. But, I've got a philosophy. It's a fair, and that's the way it is. You used to be people, if a show didn't start right on time, all upset, I said, you're in South County. Everything is approximate. There's no set down to the nate. It has to be approximate. We'll do the best we can to be on time. We try to work with people. We want to get along with people. And I think it shows. You're always going to have somebody that don't agree with this or that. But we work it out.
What are your hopes for the future of Lucasville?
I want to grow and prosper.
You think this highway that was just built will help with that?
Oh, yes, sir, I do. That's one of the better things they've done. I mean, you don't realize it like we do because we travel that road. We deliver on that road. We run our records on that road. All of our equipment runs that road. And, before, you had to go to town. You had all them red lights and all the traffic, people, older people shopping and stuff. This is out here, out of the way, and you go 70 miles an hour. And there's a lot of people who get up there and just go, and they run the speed limit 65 down here. But I'm telling you, if you want to get somewhere, that's the way to go. And not only that, you're not going to have anything around here unless you have access to it. See what I'm saying? You've got to, it don't matter whether it's a job or whatever it is. You got to be able to get the people there, and you got to get back. Like Now, if you lived in Williamsburg, you'd be in Lucasville in 18 minutes. Where before, you 35, 40 minutes, you know. I mean, it's just, it'll help businesses. I mean, I know people downtown griping, but what have they done downtown? They are starting to work on Bonneville in places. But I can remember you couldn't walk up and down the streets, fortunately. You get down in the evening, especially on holidays, you can remember that.
Friday night,
Yeah.
we used to keep the stores open until
Right.
9.
Yeah. And when we was kids, the Esplanades where we drove our cars to town. Kids, of an evening, we go around that circle, and it was a fun thing. We had a lot of fun growing up. No one ever got no bad trouble or nothing. We had a good time. Beautiful place to live. I've been from Canada to California. And the only thing I went to California, I went 7,000 miles in 2.5 weeks racing. And the best thing I seen coming home was a sign that said OHIO. I haven't been back to California since. But we had a good time.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I can talk to you all day.
I've got a closer for you then. What was your favorite car that you ever had?
Well, probably that 54 Ford.
Why?
Well, I got it when I was a kid, and Dad helped me get it, you know. And it was in the day, it was the prettiest thing around. And that car is still here.
No.
If you look past Carter Lumber, you might be girded up now, but in the wintertime, you see it. Someone used it to hold the dirt back. I mean, it's sitting there. It's coil with a white top, and you can see it down in there. And it was really a pretty car.
Thank you so much for helping us with the interview. We already did that.
I hope there's stuff in there you can use. I get carried away sometimes.